Welcome to the Physical Services Committee meeting for February 10th, 2026. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Regan.
Present.
Legislator Sage.
Present.
Chairman Gould.
Present, thank you. Okay, item number 3 is a discussion for a constituent inquiry. There was an issue in one of our facilities, in ADA accessibility. We have the person here today who has that issue. Would you like to come up?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Present.
My name is Kara Stephenson, and I had a party at Tilly's Table on November 29th of last year, 2025. Before I booked my party there, it was very, very important for me to make sure that it was accessible because I do have a very, very close friend who's wheelchair bound. I was assured that it was very accessible for a wheelchair, and when he arrived, he actually even called the morning of to make sure how accessible it was. He said that there was a lift there. He asked them if they would go and check it to make sure that it was working and functioning, and it certainly was. And he's had the problem before in the past where the lifts didn't work once he arrived. And he got there, and parking was wonderful. The staff was very accommodating and wonderful. He went to go and get on the lift. The girl came down, it was upstairs at the, I'm sorry, we're talking about the barn. She was up at the barn, rode the lift down, so he saw it working, went to get on with his wheelchair, stopped, would not work. So he thought that he knew what the problem was, is that it was overloaded. His chair with him and the person, the staff member that was on with him, he would estimate was about 800 pounds altogether with everything. And he thought that that was probably overriding the weight limit on the lift. So he asked if she could reset it, which she didn't know how to do, which was fine. She called the county, they came out, they couldn't just reset it. He was there over an hour and a half. They still did not get fixed by the time he had to leave or decided to leave. It was very, very difficult for him to even get there in the first place. It was over an hour for him to get there, and it's a pretty excruciating trip. He has muscular dystrophy, so all the moving in the car was pretty painful for him, and this was a big deal for him to get there. And then on top of it, while he was waiting for the lift to be fixed, the wonderful staff there offered him to use the restroom in the restaurant part. He said, yes, that would be fantastic. I had a long trip, I've been waiting. He went down there. The entire entrance to the bathroom was what they were using for storage for all their tables and chairs for the restaurant that they weren't using. And he couldn't get his chair through that. So they cleared a path for him, and he got through, but it's a problem. And everybody needs to start thinking differently. And my solution to this is put in a ramp. A ramp every single person can use. Whether you have usable legs or not, every single person can use that. He also said that the lift was not covered and it was out in the elements the entire time. So the bottom of it was a little bit rusted out, which it still seems to be in fairly workable condition, assuming the weight limits. That it is eventually going to rust out and that they are not made to be out in the elements, that it should be covered in some way at the very, very least. And I guess that my question would be, what is the protocol? It didn't happen, but I guess just something to think about, and I'm not asking for an answer today. But if he had gotten up to the party and there was an emergency, how is he getting out?
Yeah.
I cannot lift a 600-pound chair with a man in it. Nobody here could do that, or a 400-pound chair with a 200-pound man in it. So just kind of something to think about, where if there was a ramp installed there, there would be no issue and no question.
Very good comments, good questions. We have a commissioner of DPW here with us. Would you like to talk about that?
Maybe also, good morning, good afternoon, Tara, evening. Obviously, yeah, we know about it, and very sorry for the situation. It's, and again, I think our one legislator up there, the fire department would call, if that's how that situation would be.
Okay.
Now, when that was happening, we put a lot of money into that, keeping that one going, that specific lift. We put a temporary, since then, we put a temporary chair lift on the stair to get somebody up or down. And then we've ordered a new lift, which is strong. We actually poured the slab for it about 6 weeks ago when it wasn't frozen. So it'll take the lift, which is, we're supposed to be getting on Friday. So we have a brand new lift.
Can I ask why you decided on another lift rather than a ramp?
The location for, that's 4 feet high, right? So it's 12 inch on it, it's 12 feet on it, 1 foot on an inch.
Okay,
So
yep.
that means it's a 48-foot ramp, basically.
Okay.
The location to put a ramp is so limited because on the left side of the barn, you've got a propane tank underground. You've also got all your HVAC systems on the outside of the building. I'm not saying it's not doable. We just need to wait till the snow melts and research that. And then come back to legislature and look for funding for it because it would be a capital project. We did look at it a few years ago. But the ramp we're putting on, the lift we're putting on now is gonna have a cover on it. We're putting a cover. And then it's also gonna be stronger and it's gonna be indoor-outdoor. This other one was kind of a, one we had another location that we're able to use for a while. But, unfortunately, even in buildings like this, if the elevator goes down, we're still stuck in the same situation.
Sure. Yeah,
And again,
that's
we'll
fair.
be calling the fire department to come help somebody downstairs.
Yep.
But as of Friday, it's gonna be plug in place, the lift's gonna be,
Love that.
it's brand new and be able to take, I think it's 1,000 pounds.
Love that.
We would also like to put a ramp in, just so everybody knows, because what happens, whether it's bands or DJ or even the caterer themselves bringing stuff in and out, it would be better for us, better situation. The idea would be to go to the second window, basically, would give us, I think, the right amount of distance and height we would need, so.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment on this?
I just have a question.
Yeah,
to
Let's let it-
Chair. How many people were at your event?
about 100.
About more, maybe?
Less, actually.
Okay.
I paid for 100, there were 87 there, but I paid for 100 people.
That's a question I've had about the space for a long time.
Oh.
Just that's, I'm asking you, just
Yeah,
taking
beautiful. I
taking
mean, it's-
inventory.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous space. They do a nice job.
Number one, I'm sorry you had this issue.
Thank you.
This is, not what we want, and we do have a think differently model here that we're trying to adhere by. I'm sorry this happened, it's not okay. I do have some other questions, though, with that specific location, Tommy, with somebody, or Commissioner, sorry. With that location, navigating that with certain handicaps in the parking lot, in the current situation, we're building Cornell Cooperative, other certain things. I know myself walking in from up the hill in a pair of shoes that are over 2 inches is hard to do, especially in the wintertime, the lighting, stuff like that. Those are other things that we've looked into to make it more accessible for just people, because I find it to be a little dangerous at times. If we have parties and different things, the terrain and definitely plays
It does,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah, and to give credit to the administration, you guys, because anything we've done, even with the last administration, ADA upgrades have been first and foremost, including this building, the golf course, the youth bureau now, all those upgrades are done. Every time we go into a building, the first thing is ADA compatible, and include this building. You know, we just did ramps and bathrooms this year, so it's one thing we look at. When they're scheduling an event like that, I know they do ask if there's somebody that needs assistance. They'll drop them off right there, right in front, and then park them as close by as possible. That's usually.
It was absolutely, like, the staff was
They're
great,
very
yeah,
great,
yeah, like,
yeah.
they let him park literally at the ramp.
Wonderful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's one question that they know to ask, which is good, you know, so, for all the parties.
I appreciate it. I know it's like I said, I know it's dirt and rocks and different things, so
I mean,
it's a great
we're-
facility, but,
Yeah.
you know, we want to make sure we're staying with the times and,
We're scheduling the autism walk, it's scheduled already, we had a meeting yesterday, and the same as, I think now you're looking at a large portion of people who need some sort of help getting in and out, so, that's first and foremost, so.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chairman.
First of all, again, I'm sorry that this happened to you. I can't imagine if it were one of my guests and they had to go through that. And I think it's commendable for you to reach out and let us know, because sometimes as legislators, you know, we see things happening, but we don't know how it translates into the real world. So for you to stand up and to let us know helps us to take action, and for people to come out to, you know, just to let us know if it's working or not. So I think that's so important.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here.
He's
Yes.
my first wheelchair-bound friend, and he's taught me a lot.
Yeah,
To ask for-
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't,
I
you know,
learn something different every time I'm
Yeah.
with him or see his posts.
it's seeing from their perspective. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shut this off.
That's important for us, because that's a contractor for us in the
Yes.
county, so it's important for us to get that feedback. They're great, they always do communicate, but sometimes they just might slip by, so.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
So much.
Coming both from farm families, it's important to note here, so to thank and recognize the DPW. It is a farm. So all that you're working with to try and make it as accessible as possible, it still started off as a farm, and still parts of it very much are, right? So appreciate your efforts there. Was the building so the ramp that we're looking at, is this something that is already budget and allocated for, or is this a separate item?
It'd be a separate item, a capital project. And again, this is the other thing, you know, we're still under WAC, the watershed agricultural, we're under there, so we'd have to get permission from them also.
For a permanent structure?
Exactly.
Okay. And just one other question, if I may. Understanding you were very grateful that the staff seemed to be attentive to the needs, but that is not under the direction of the gentlemen that are here, correct? So who is that? Who is under?
So we have a general manager Katie Hanrahan would be the contact, and probably who you're speaking with, or maybe Megan.
Megan
okay.
was my contact.
Yeah, and Megan would relay that to Katie, who would relay it to us if that's.
Through the contractor, through
Right.
Homestyle.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
If you see
time.
anything else in the future, please reach
I
out.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you
reach
so
out.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, we have an approval for a budgetary amendment 26A007, Planning Department, Pavement Management Program utilizing Federal United Planning Work Program data management funds. It's for $32,175, and Commissioner Barbara Barbosa, thank you for coming here.
So this is grant funding. UPWP is funded through the annual allocation. We actually budgeted this last year, and it's used by DPW to conduct a management study of the pavement commissions. So we're just looking to align for this. The cost of the study is $32,175.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Any questions from legislators? Any questions from the audience? See there's no questions, I make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, item number 5. We have an approval for a budgetary amendment 26A008, Again, Planning Department, sidewalk construction, federal HUD award money. This is for $7,500,000.
So this is our big $725 million, 100% funding from Congressman Waller. So big funding. So this is just saying at the line, the grant has been executed. And it can start work. The sidewalks are planned for Brewster School, Red Schools, and SEQRA Road. Depending on funding, we have other locations that we can move to as well.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from the committee?
Did I hear you say SEQRA Road from Mahopac School District? That is amazing. Where would they be?
The big triggers really are for it, you trigger when you're around the school zone, that's a net positive, so one of the first two would have been Mahopac and Brewster, just because the amount of kids that could possibly drive the road with and make it safe. So, Brewster would be basically from the first bus barn up to 312. And we're hoping to do that one to coincide with repaving Farmer Market anyway, as a county project, so that's a good one. And the other one would be on Norland Place Road from the high school to the middle school. Right now, you've got landing spots. There's no
Got to
place
be
walk.
kidding me.
So it's just, kids to be safer outside the school property, make pickups easier, things like that. And then SEQRA is essentially on the top where it levels off, to try and keep the businesses and to create a business area, make it a lot safer for the people before they employ.
On that SEQRA Road area, there's people running back and forth from the business area to those houses over there constantly. And, I mean, Baldwin Place sidewalks have been needed for such a long time. I was working with Town of Carmel years ago. We've been talking about this, and I'm so excited to finally see it come through. I think John Tully at the time, we would be discussing it for years. So I'm so happy to see this happen. It's so dangerous up there with the kids and no sidewalks. Parents sitting across the street, waiting for their kids to be picked up, and kids running across the street. I mean, I know the buses come in between the middle school and the high school. I'm just very happy for this whole thing in Mahopac.
And we also include crosswalks.
Right.
That's,
To get to the roads, so.
will there be flashing lights or anything? It's just so dangerous over there.
Not yet, but this is, I mean.
Hopefully with crosswalks, that'll come.
Right away, so that it'll be easier to start, you don't need the teenies.
Is there a timeline? I mean, I know we just got the money, but I'm just curious, but,
So
We have the plans, yeah, going out to RFP right away.
that's amazing. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Lawler. This is fabulous.
In the summertime, when schools are closed to do,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's great.
That's it.
Thank you both. Two-part question, Commissioner Barbara. Timeline on expenditure of the money? Do we have to spend it in a certain amount of time or we lose it? 8 years? Okay, plenty of time. And Commissioner Tommy, the projects you identified all sound excellent. How does that come to be? Is that your people identifying those spots, or?
They have, part of the grant is they have to trigger certain things, so being in the high traffic area, school zones, things like that, so they move up in the grading system, let's say.
Okay, so they, almost like a suggestion list, and then you guys take it from there?
Right.
Excellent, great, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions from legislators?
Just a comment, I'd like to recognize this is part of the 2021 Infrastructure Improvement Act, where Biden and Maloney was actually the congressman who voted this into law. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other
Take it.
comments? Any comments from the audience? Seeing no other comments, I make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay, item number 6. We have an approval for a lease renewal for Nelsonville Substation at 276 Main Street in Nelsonville. Barbara, do you want to speak on this, or who's going to speak on this?
I can speak on it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. We have Sheriff Hatch with us.
So this is the substation that serves the west side of the county. It's a patrol precinct where the Phillipstown and Putt Valley cars come out of. So it's I think it was about 10 officers who were assigned out of that substation. So this is a continuation of the lease that I think we've had for, I don't know,
At least 5 years, at least 5 years, thank you.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was redone.
They do it a long time.
It was redone about 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's another 5-year extension onto that lease, sir.
Very nice. We're gonna put McConville's name on it. Is this part of that?
Well, this is the first part, right? First, we have to release the building because it expired, and I believe there'll be another resolution coming to you to do that second part.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the committee?
Just, who negotiates the rent on this? It seems like it's accelerated pretty,
Yeah,
it's a lot of acceleration there, in my estimation. But I don't know what the fair market value is, so I'm just going to ask questions.
So I asked the same question, and I was explaining that we got a very discounted rate originally, and I believe that was a catch-up from the town of Nelsonville to kind of make it bring up to market value. You see that acceleration over there.
I mean, that was my estimation on that, but I have to ask because I felt it was kind of rising quickly. Can we expect this? I mean, 5 years from now, is it going to be that? You know, I just don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
Be
I
able
mean, it's
to.
hard for me to answer for now, but I think what I was told, is we were lacking way behind.
Okay.
So this brings it up to market value. I'm guessing it'll stick with that going forward.
Okay, thank you.
It's a wonderful building, you know, it's very discreet on the northern side of the road. If you're not paying attention, you drive right by it. Very nice. Legislator Montgomery?
Yeah, just judging from what market value is, it's a really good deal. When you think about even in 5 years from now, I think the rent will be still less than $2,500.
Not
Right
being a
now-
real estate expert, that's what I was told. when I asked
Right now, it's at
that.
1,800. In Phillipstown, you can't, anywhere, actually, in Putnam. So how many square feet is it?
That's 3,200 square feet, I believe.
It's pretty big.
Is that right?
Could be
Yeah.
easily converted into something.
Yeah, we use it now, we use storing stuff in the first floor, the locker rooms on the second floor with a meeting room, and the girls get good use out of it.
Yeah.
Legislator?
So in the early 2000s, when Third Brown was still in, we had a substation over in Putnam Valley that we all can remember. And then later on, we became the one over in Nelsonville. We did have an overlap there, so if we're looking at it generally, we don't have Putnam Valley anymore. We only have the substation, which I think 7 in 10 people turn out of, depending on which floor they're on. And we no longer have the lease at Putnam Valley, so we're actually at a savings. If we're looking at it through that. Instead of having 3 locations, which I would like to have, but we don't have.
It'd be very difficult if we didn't have this building to
Yes.
get patrols out, so that's how they count.
Yep, with the 2 zones, it's appropriate that we do have a savings since we've cut down in Putnam Valley.
Any other comments? Any comments from the audience? Seeing no comments, I make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, we have a SEQRA negative declaration for Tilly Foster Farm Conservation Easement Amendment Approval for the Town of Southeast Planning Department. We have Barbara Barbosa, the Commissioner of Planning, and we also have, there you go, thank you. Go ahead. Andrew, yeah.
Of counsel with the county attorney's office.
Yes, so this is in regarding amendment to the conservation easement that we have with the Watershed Agricultural Council. We conducted a environmental review, it was initiated in December, circulated documents to other involved and interested agencies. We are required to circulate it for 30 days. It's been more than that. We did get one comment from the Watershed Agricultural Council that there was an error in the acreage that we reported. We were going off of an old map. There was a previous amendment which the reference they used, so I apologize for that. It was recirculated, and it's been about a month. All of the agencies who comment went through the legislature acting as the agency. So there's a resolution in front of you. declaring yourself lead agency and declaring a negative declaration that there's no environmental impacts from the proposed conservation easement amendment.
Okay, any questions or comments from the committee? You all set
What
up?
was the erroneous acreage?
Respectfully through the chair, except for our new legislator, Regan, welcome to Southeast. If you may remember, this matter was previously before the legislature, I think it was in November.
Yeah, correct.
Where the legislature declared an intent to serve as lead agency. So I gave a little background at that point. The county's working with WAC to basically amend the WAC easement. The county acquired through donation about 130 acres. That's to the west of the farm. It runs parallel to Simpson Road. The plan is to include that acreage into the farm, include it into the WAC easement, and then in exchange, WAC will amend the WAC easement to change, to amend the use areas surrounding the building footprint around the barns, which are categorized as MADA, which is Municipal Acceptable Development Area, and ADA, Agricultural Development Area, which are the least restrictive use areas, the farm. It gives the county the most latitude to basically conduct its operations. Those areas will be expanded, and the area was previously agricultural conservation easement area, which is a more restrictive area. That area will be changed to expand the ADA and the MADA around the barns and the building footprints by about 24 acres. So the mistake, which was the typographical error, had a lower amount for the expansion of the ADA and MADA area. We're actually getting more.
For those two areas.
For those two areas. We're going to enlarge those areas collectively by about 24 acres, which will give the county more freedom to do other rural enterprises and concerts and that sort of thing, build out rural enterprise structures. So basically the error in the original EAF was the number that the MADA and ADA were going to expand by was lower than it really is. So the commissioner amended the EAF, put the new number in, recirculated it to all the involved and interested agencies. There was no further comment, and hence we're here tonight for the approval of the EAF, that there's no environmental impact and to issue the negative declaration. In fact, this overall scheme is probably a positive environmental impact because there's going to be a larger portion of property that's presently unencumbered by the WAC easement going to be put into the WAC easement, and that property has a tributary into the Middle Branch Reservoir, which is drinking water.
The chair, that acreage is reflected, the additional unencumbered acreage is 123.79 acres, that's being added back in.
Correct.
So we're taking a little more and adding back 123.79 acres.
We're adding presently encumbered 123 acres into the WAC easement, and we're enlarging areas that are already encumbered by the WAC easement, but have a more restrictive use area, and making those areas into
Less restrictive.
uses.
Any other comments? Let's let it.
Yeah, you mentioned restricted uses that will, what are the restricted uses that you feel that now, this is going to be a positive environmental impact, but what would the uses be?
We're going to expand the ADA and the MADA, which allows certain buildings within the parameters of the WAC easement, which that area currently doesn't allow.
And you said agricultural development for the ADA, what is, and then what would that
The ADA's
entail?
agricultural development.
Right, what would that entail if we're in
Rural enterprises.
farming? Would that be farming or?
Farming, but you're allowed rural enterprises in that area. Whereas currently it's agricultural conservation easement area, which doesn't, I believe, allow rural enterprises.
Thank you.
Just to point out, this is just a resolution to approve the neg deck, to issue the negative declaration for the SEQRA review. The county's gonna have to come back to the legislature at some time in the future to actually approve the easement amendment. So there'll be a further review by the legislature before we can amend this easement. After the seeker is completed, we'll work with WAC and the surveyor, Terry Bergendorf Collins, to actually finalize all of this into easements, into surveys, so we can finalize the easement. And then at that point, the legislature, under Chapter 31 and State County Law 215, will have to approve that easement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator?
Yes, and I understand that this is just an amended seeker review application that we already did, that I already commented on in November.
This is the actual seeker review. What was done
With
in
the-
November was just the resolution approving the intent to declare lead agency status.
Right.
To initiate.
To
And we just
initiate-
amended the acreage
we just
here
amended
in
the
this
acreage
as
and
well.
amended EAF from November until now.
So I have the same comments, and I appreciate the opportunity, again, to make those same comments that I did in November, because I agree, like the seeker review determines that there will be no negative impact, no significant environmental impacts. And I always respect how seeker determines as it relates to the easement amendment before us. A lot came to mind as we were talking about a previous topic, and Tilly's Table and the event space there, which I want to be on the record once again for saying as this property evolves, that we must ensure the agricultural program aspect of it. Unfortunately, you said more concerts and things like that, which I'm not putting that on you. That's been the idea of this space. When I first went to do the site visit before the event space was complete, I was very critical. This was something that our DPW commissioner inherited from the previous administration. We were putting an event space on top of a room that held gas-powered farm equipment, like crazy, and there's no sprinkler system, and now we have an ADA issue. So as we expand, because this is what this is implying, that we can expand that area around the farm for more,
It'll allow more rural enterprise.
but rural enterprise could mean expansion of the Tilly's Table, could mean expansion of the concerts that we do, could build infrastructure for that. And I know you'll have to come back to us for that as well, for approval, but the way we've been heading with this property has been so far from agriculture that I just want to go back to that. We're doing that with Cornell Cooperative, that's great. I want to ensure that as this expands, that we're keeping agriculture in mind, and safety. You know, we've got these events. That was my question about how many people are at your party, because I look at pictures at that event space and you can't tell me there's always less than 100 people there. And that's what capacity allows. Apparently, fire department's supposed to be there anyway because of the capacity of that building. So I respectfully, these are my concerns as a legislator. I don't know that we even have a farmer yet at Tilly Foster Farm. It's a farm. You know, we were investing in that previously. I don't know why we're not now. I think one of the comments I made with this new land, that's great. It could be a great recreational resource, you know, adjacent to the reservoir. You know, somebody said, you're not really allowed to fish there. let's use our resources to make a fishing access there instead of putting in a concert venue.
I would bring that to the administration. I personally think it's a great idea myself, but I'm just counsel.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the
And I
work.
would love to fish that tributary.
Yeah, me too.
Just to point out, that area that will be put in to the WAC easement, the 120-something acres, will be farming area. So there'll be additional farming area that will open up.
And maybe we'll have a farmer.
So through the chair, if I can just add to that, so the topography for that stream is really, really hazardous. It's not.
Conducive to
Yeah,
access.
It's not a river flows through it, it's not one of those kind of places.
You'd be surprised at what I get to.
But the good news on a farm, which I'd like to point out, is even talking about the ADA ramp before, we would have to go to WAC to get that approval for that addition. The autism walk, the reason why they're doing the walk is to build a sensory facility at the farm. We wouldn't be allowed to do that without WAC. Doing these changes now, we'd be able to do that. I signed a contract this morning with an MOA with Cornell Cooperative to start their own seedling program in the back fields. So that's all
That's
happening.
great.
We're having a calf in the next 3 weeks. We'll probably have a calf naming contest in the next 3 weeks. That's where the
We're
farm is
headed.
going. It's going in, I think, the right direction you want
Yeah.
and the community wants. It's not going to go to building, there won't be a shopping mall up there. There's not going to be a strip plaza up there. It's going in the right direction for the community. So,
Yeah, my concern is the expansion of non-farming, non-agricultural
If I could just point
purposes.
out one thing from a legal point of view, it's an expansion of existing use areas, the ADA and MADA. It's not removing the WAC easement from those areas.
I understand that.
It's just expanding those current use areas. WAC will still be involved.
Right.
And WAC will still have regulatory approval over those use areas. So it's not going to open up a free-for-all in those areas.
And it's not the intention. And even with the concert series, we're still looking at doing small, intimate. The problem now is because of the restrictions, they have to play in a parking lot, and that loses parking spots for us. Once we're able to move them back to where the rink is, the ring, it's just a better atmosphere. It's a natural amphitheater. I mean, Joe even took his nieces to Taylor Swift. Taylor, not so Swift. But it was a great day for the community. And those are the kind of things we're looking to continue to do there. So,
And farming.
and fun.
Thanks.
Any other comments from the legislature? Any comments from the audience? Seeing they're all none?
Yeah, sorry, one last thing we'd like to do is, just to keep it on your radar, is the access road out of there. So once this approval goes through, we're looking to shift the driveway down further. So we'll have animals on both sides of the road as you pull in, but the access road is going to be shifted down because there's an awful lot of accidents coming down that hill on that turn. So we're going to give it another, it's probably going to be about 100 feet of more line of sight. So when people come off the highway, they're not going to crash into a school bus. So we'll be coming to you this year.
Thank you very
This is
much.
done.
Any comments? Okay, seeing there are none, I make a motion to accept this. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, item number 8. We have a secret determination, a negative declaration approval for the Donald B. Smith campus. Again, Planning Department, Commissioner.
This is another similar situation. The legislature, their intent to serve as lead agency for this project in November, December fall. It was circulated in December to all of the interested and involved agencies. The comments that we received are attached. Everyone agreed that the legislature should serve as lead agency. And there is a resolution in front of you declaring yourself lead agent and issuing a negative declaration.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee? Any questions or comments from the legislature? From the audience? Seeing there are none, I make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 9.
Barbara?
We have an approval for directing Prospective cancellation of taxes on certain parcels. We have Andrew Negro with us again. Hi.
Respectfully, through the chair, this is a resolution, again, as you indicated, to direct a prospective cancellation of taxes going forward on 3 parcels. 2 are in Putnam Valley, one's in Phillipstown. The parcels are tax map lots that are currently lake beds. Taxes haven't been paid on those parcels in quite some time. They were previously included in tax foreclosure proceedings. They were withdrawn because of either legal issues, or if the county were to acquire title to them, it would basically be more of a financial strain on the county if the county were to acquire them. This resolution is pursuant to section 1138 of the real property tax law. If the legislator directs it, the county finance commissioner will basically issue a certificate of prospective cancellation, removing those parcels from the tax rolls going forward. It's basically stopping the bleed. It doesn't cancel prior taxes. It just directs that the taxes won't accrue going forward, which the county is obviously required to guarantee to the municipalities and the school districts. County, under state law, only recourse in this situation is to foreclose on the properties, and there's issues legally and physically that's not possible. So basically, it's just to stop the bleed going forward on properties that are underwater and are lake beds. If in the future circumstances change, legally or otherwise, the legislature can restore those properties back onto the tax rolls. But right now, it just stops the bleed on underwater lake beds that are accruing taxes, and the county's guaranteeing those taxes going forward.
Thank you. Questions from the committee?
Andrew, I know you and I have spoke about this before. We have several properties in Putnam County. I mean, I think this is just a drop in the bucket. I mean, I'm glad to see this happen. I'm glad to see this come through. But I know we have a lot of, I know I have one in my district that I've been working diligently about. Those small little lake communities that have gone unpaid for 30, 40, 50 years, that we're still covering for the town of Carmel and whatever other municipalities. Are we going to see more of this coming in the future? Are those being worked on in any way, shape, or form? I mean, I know we spoke about this in the law department before, but I don't know.
I think the law department and the finance department, along with the administration, probably will, in the future, will look at other parcels. I think this was a good beta case, because it's, in my opinion, a no-brainer. You have underwater parcels. Going forward, that's a determination to be made by, the county. I don't think it's something that's out of the realm of possibility, though.
I think the lake properties would probably be the easiest. I know there's properties with environmental impacts that might be more complicated, but still, they have to be resolved. I know it's not going to happen, but I think the lake properties are probably a good place to start. I'd like to see us move forward, at least on those.
Honestly, when I was with the law department,
Yeah.
these properties were there.
Yeah.
They've all been there for quite some time. As you indicated, there are environmentally sensitive properties that basically, if the county were to acquire them, it would be not a good situation for the county. That's probably a good next step. These ones are a no-brainer, though.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'd like to see a few more.
Any other comments from the committee? Any comments from the legislature? Any additional comments from the audience? Seeing there are none, make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank
you, everybody.
Thank you, good to see you.
All right, item number 10, we have an approval for a local law to amend Charter 25, Article 4, entitled Veterans Memorial Park Advisory Board. Legislator Crowley had proposed this. Legislator Crowley, would you like to take the lead on this and talk about it?
I would love to. So back in December 2021, when I used to come before this board quite often, it was brought to my attention that our row of honor flags were left in a parking lot and not properly disposed of. We had 2 deputies that stepped up that are still active duty reservists that are still with us today, that work with our sheriff's department, that folded every single one of them properly and brought them somewhere so they could be laid to rest. I believe that it is time that we bring it for us and make sure that we codify this row of honor as an official county program, ensuring its continuity and consistent administration. It does not create a new initiative or expand county government, and simply places an existing widely supported tradition into law. The codification provides stability, transparency, and responsibility and oversight while allowing the legislature to continue approving funding through the normal budget process. At its core, this bill ensures that a respected tribute to our veterans is preserved and protected for future generations. And you can look at the red line copy here, what's been changed, and in N, you can see we're making recommendations to the Putnam County Parks Superintendent for repair and replacement of flags in the Roll of Honor would speak for something like that never happening again. I think it's important. We are a community that takes pride in our veterans, and I would love to see this continue on through every administration. And I think we all really like seeing it, making sure that those flags are taken care of for the families that pay for them and what the service that those veterans gave to our community and to us for our freedom.
Very nice. Thank you for proposing this. Any comments or questions from the committee?
I was hoping that we would have someone from our parks here. I mean, I don't know if Chris Ruthven.
Yeah.
You're our parks
You're
guy?
Chris Ruthven tonight?
It's our department.
Yes.
Yeah, it's your department. I was saying you're Chris Ruthven. But so this particular initiative, it's not creating more park space. It's just taking care of the flags.
If I may,
Yeah.
it runs through through our sign shop. Parks
Okay.
basically maintains the property, helps install the lineators for the flags. So, and it looks like we have a certain number, they already have the flags, they're really very quality flag. And I think we're starting out with 400 to start, and then go as far as 500, I think it is.
So this, I mean, I know in the past, I've purchased flags before for a veteran on the lake shore of Lake Oneida. So that program is stopping, or it has stopped, and then the county's just taking it over and installing the flags, just continuing that program
We're
without.
gonna work- Yeah, sorry, we're going to work with the veterans.
So the veterans are still going to take,
They're still going to do the name, the tags on it, and the families.
Have to
It'll have
purchase.
a shelf life, it'll have a lifetime span. So I think it's 2 years, and then you get the flag back once it's over.
so we'll still be able to donate.
Yes.
Yes,
To,
and very similar to the Heroes banners.
Yep.
That's going to roll out, you'll get that before Memorial Day, actually. Plan for that also, because if you see that they're just worn and tattered. So the warranty on those banners are 2 years. So the plan was to have people buy them, and then they'll go up, they'll stay up from Memorial Day to Labor Day, come down. After 2 years, it goes back to the family that bought the flag, the banner.
So we'll still keep the veterans program going, and just DPW is going to maintain the flags, and
It'll run exactly, the public will see it the same exact way, same volunteers putting them up and that kind of thing, yeah.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Legislator?
It's just essentially making sure that for future administrations continue to do this, that we stay on top of it. We have a time frame that we're doing it between, and that we're, making sure that we're being accountable for the families and what they're buying. We've already put it in our budget, and we're going to get reimbursed for it when the families purchase again. So it's just, we're being accountable and also preserving this for the future.
I think it's a great tourist attraction. People
We're
love
gonna
it. I love it.
We're going to schedule it for Memorial Day to July 4th, they take it down for a while, and then put it back up,
So they don't tatter and
Exactly. So,
it's hard in the water.
Yep, so windy.
Any other questions from the legislature? Any questions from the audience? Seeing there are none, I make a motion to approve this. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, item number 11 is, any new business? Is there any new business? Seeing it, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. Recognizing that it transpired here tonight and recently coming from the back of the room, I want to point out that I appreciate that despite the fact that we've had several familiar faces sitting up there tonight, you announced who those people were when they came up here, including the sheriff and some of our other famous commissioners that come up there. And it's something that, coming from the back of the room, or those watching on video, we all know who those people are generally, and everybody could see our names here, but I'd like to see everybody continue doing what you just did right there. Despite the familiarity with the person who comes up, the first point of the night, we should say that person's name and their job, like you did. I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you. You're absolutely right. People watching on TV and sometimes have no idea.
Yeah, you cannot, generally you can't hear if they're sitting there, but you definitely don't know who they are, because we always say, "Hey, Petey, how you doing?" And then we start talking, but we don't identify who Pete is or what his job is.
Thank
So,
you for that comment.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing there's no other, any other business? Seeing there's no other business, I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Shred your confidential.
You did that, thank you. I meant to say that at the beginning, and I'm glad you did it, because we all know who they are.
Oh, you're right.
Like you say, Bob,
Legislator Sage, please lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Legislator Russo?
Present.
Present. Chairwoman Adenesi.
Present. Moving on to number 3 is the acceptance of minutes, December 9th, 2025. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Number 4, tonight we'll be discussing the approval for a workplace and gender-based violence policy as a replacement to our existing workplace violence policy. And would you like to come up? Do you both want to come up? Okay. We have Patricia Rowe. Am I saying that correct? Rao, okay, Rao. Our Principal Personnel Specialist. And we have Adrian Iasoni, Acting Personnel Officer. Thank you. So maybe you can give us a little brief overview of this?
Absolutely. So there was a new state finance law passed which requires that recipients of state monies, people who are bidding for state monies, must have a gender-based violence policy in order to receive that money. This requirement goes into effect as of next month. So we do have some grants that are in the process of being renewed right now that will require that this policy be adopted, and a couple of follow-up items also need to occur in order for them to secure those very important monies. It's sort of the long and short of it. The
right.
state did put out a model policy, and that is what I used in creating this. I didn't create a policy myself. I used the state model policy to make sure we were in compliance with the requirements, and I just merged it with the existing workplace violence policy that we have. And I adopted the investigation procedure from our sexual harassment policy and put that in it to make sure that we had continuity in how all of these kinds of complaints are being handled across the county.
And then the difference between the two, this is basically adding the gender-based.
Yes, it's just adding gender-based, gender-specific.
Violence.
Into the workplace violence policy. It's expanding it.
Right.
basically.
Very good. Do you have any questions from the committee?
Is this going to change our, I know we do our training every year, and will this change that training program? Will we all have?
We will still have to have the annual training, but we will have to address the gender-based violence training in the annual training as well. So I don't handle the training aspect of it, but I do know that Adrian told me that they are looking into including that.
Yes, we have a contract with Treliant that does our online training, so we've been in communication with them. They have a legal team, they review all changes to state law, and they're going to be incorporating this into the training as well.
Okay, so all of us that did the training, do we have to do anything extra now that it's,
I think we're going to be looking into whether or not we need to address it immediately
Okay.
for these, at least for the departments that are in the process of this bid process. But definitely everyone, we usually do it at the end of the year. It will
Right.
eventually fall into place. Everyone will be
Next
doing it
year?
at the same
Great.
time at the end
Okay.
of the year. I do want to add, there was one small typo in the draft annotated copy and the draft final copy I sent you. So I do have for the record the corrected one. It is just in the purpose section where it lists out the kind of the sections within the policy. I changed some of the headings throughout the policy and inadvertently did not change them there. So I do have amended copies to be entered into the record, if that is amenable to you.
okay, sure, okay.
I have copies.
Yep, there, okay. So I make a motion to accept the additional. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You don't have one?
I do, but this is the amended, corrected.
Caught it this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What page is purpose on?
On the first page, it's right at the
Oh.
beginning there where it's the list of subheadings throughout the policy. I had rearranged them
Oh.
and changed a couple of them and inadvertently forgot to carry it out to the purpose section.
Any other questions?
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go
I
ahead.
mean, I'm just, I read through it, I mean, I've done the training so many times, every year, and I feel like it's not written in our policy, I guess, but I feel like we've covered because you don't want to, gender-based violence is an umbrella term that includes domestic violence, sex-based discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, and sexual violence. It can also include stalking and human trafficking. I mean, I feel like we always.
Definitely some crossover with the existing policy, whether it be our workplace violence policy or a sexual harassment and discrimination policy. But we wanted to make sure that we were very clearly meeting the state mandate.
Okay, yeah.
Legislator Goldman?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Number 2, persons covered by this policy. We have done volunteers. Who would be considered a volunteer? Member of boards and that kind of thing?
We have some volunteer drivers in some of our departments, and I know we have some like unpaid workers, WISE program student workers, and those would be considered volunteers as well.
Would we, in the future, ask everyone to sign off on a waiver or something that they've read this and that kind of thing?
So all new hires are required to sign off that they've read the employee handbook, which includes a listing of all of our policies, and I know that with the training that goes out to everyone, and they have to complete the training that says that they've reviewed the policy as well.
High would be the person that gets paid. Would volunteers be asked to do this also?
They would have to be, if they're at least if they're in a department that's receiving the state monies, absolutely, they would be required to for the grant.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Legislator Montgomery?
Do the department heads receive the same training that we do? Is it the same? It is.
It is,
Yeah.
yes. There is a supervisory component to the training, but
Yeah.
it covers all the essential elements.
I mean, you spent a lot of time on this, thank you. I think it's, a very substantive policy, and there's a lot of substantial stuff in here, and it's important stuff, and it's hard stuff, and I think it touches on trauma-informed response, confidentiality, which is a really big concern. That's why I ask, are department heads and supervisors trained differently? And it's because this is a policy, and I know from being in government so long, we spend a lot of money and time on plans, and they go on a shelf. And you spend a lot of time and active work on this. And I want to say it's not to go on the shelf. It's, it creates a better working environment for everybody. And, I mean, we all know what that training is like, and that's our option, and I don't know that there are many others, many other training options. And they do the volunteers have to do the same training that we do as well, and there is a box to check off that you've read the policy. So I'd want to just tell you, I appreciate it. It's a very important policy. I hope that maybe I'd kind of want our supervisors and department heads to have a little more training, because it's better for us as a county, because this is such a difficult thing, and it does happen, and it does make our employees feel protected and safe, and especially the confidentiality issue is really important.
Absolutely. That's definitely something we can explore, but I do think right now, right, we all do the same.
Yeah.
The same.
And this is the first step in this
Mhm.
process, but there's also, we have to identify a safe person through the Office of Domestic Violence. So this is going to be a multi-phase
Mhm.
process, so identifying that safe person, getting posters out, things like that. So it's really just moving forward with the policy.
Yeah, this is step one.
Yeah.
We'll definitely want to, and we're required to,
Mhm.
have more training and more education that's out county-wide for all of the employees to ensure everyone is aware of the policy, is aware of its requirements, and also is aware that they'll be protected and safe.
Mhm. Thank you.
Okay. Counsel?
Through the chair, I just wanted to make you aware there's a vendor called, I think it's called Know Before, that does all different types of training modules, but they do it in kind of like almost, I don't know, like almost like a soap opera style, and it's very entertaining, and the story continues, so you follow these group of workers through different scenarios as it goes. It was just, I thought, a very effective training. I mean, obviously don't know what contracts or vendors use, but it might be worth looking into. They do things for cybersecurity as well as for trainings for all all mandated forms of training. Yeah, it's called Know, Be, and then the number 4.
It'd be fun to have
I've worked
more
a lot of places,
entertainment.
and I've dealt with many different vendors,
I know.
and I can just tell you that it was the only one that I watched that didn't feel like painful, it's such important information, and I think that what Nancy said is really important, is that these are things that usually just end up kind of on a shelf somewhere, or at the bottom of somebody's, folder stack, and, whereas if it is engaging enough, even if it isn't sort of, in a kitschy sort of way, it sticks with you more, because you remember, oh, that's like that scenario I experienced.
Mhm.
And I mean, if you can engage people, they learn, and then maybe you don't have some of the problems.
Yeah, and they're the first line of defense for those problems. You guys see it and know it, and you're the one that has to protect the confidentiality, and so you live it, and it's hard. It's a hard
We do have
subject.
a new contract with Treliant for our online training, and it is, I think, an improvement
Mhm.
from what we've had in the past, and it's going to be updated annually. And it does have kind of like Netflix and podcasts, and it's trying to be a little bit more
Yeah.
engaging, because we do know the content's pretty dry, but it's so critically important.
Oh, I'm sorry, but,
Go, hand retract, go ahead.
Legislator Regan, did you want?
Retract my question, yep.
Oh, you retract, okay.
I do have one more question.
Okay,
I just had, I mean, the policy is fantastic. I think it's great. I think it's, I mean, to most of us, it's just basic human, treating each other as you want to be treated. I think the flip side of that is being brave enough to speak up. And I think that's where employees need to feel empowered to speak up and say something. And I think that's probably really difficult, and maybe need to feel more empowered to do that. Policy's not going to do that. And I think that's where training comes in. Anyway, I think that's very important, and I would hope that our employees feel empowered to speak up and follow the right path to get resolution, but I feel it's probably not happening a lot.
That is one of the reasons I carried the investigation procedure over from sexual harassment policy, even though it is kind of redundant to have two policies that are about some kind of, where you're filing some kind of complaint to investigate it, to have the exact same language in both, but I wanted it to be there so employees could see, we have a real protocol for how we can approach these situations, because I do know it is really difficult. Before I did this, I was a prosecutor, and I did domestic violence, and I did special victims cases, so I know how hard it is for people to talk about that. So it's one of the reasons I carried the procedures over, and that's where the training and the posters and the education is hopefully going to help employees.
Legislator Montgomery?
One more question about the volunteer issue. Do our volunteer boards, like our traffic safety board volunteers, our ag board volunteers, our soil and water conservation, do they have to do this training? I don't think we.
Great question. I'm not sure. I know OSR has volunteers.
Yeah,
on there.
they do, the drivers.
Printed and, right, it's PALs and things like that. I'm not.
I just think,
sure about some of the other boards.
because we are in a work environment when sometimes we're in those meetings for 3 hours and we're with, I hate to give these volunteers any more mandate, any more to do, but it could empower them to be part of it too. But we are in a setting, in a workplace with different people who think differently than us and may not respect us and may not respect our opinions, and it might be uncomfortable.
Well, it's a
And it
great
is
question.
sometimes, I'll tell you.
I did receive something from someone in the health department today that is in the process of renewing a grant, and the agency there we're applying for the grant from gave them a form, but they had to sign off on saying that they had a policy and they had a training protocol.
Mhm.
So at least those volunteers, I think, would be required. But yeah, we want to make sure.
Yeah.
If we're doing some, are we going to be doing all?
Right. I hate to add more. I'm sorry. I even said it. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Thank you.
With this type of situation, when this happens, I know that there's an investigation done, and sometimes those folks no longer work here anymore at that point. When a person makes a report, and the person they made a report on is no longer here. But I do feel like there should be some follow through and some sort of debriefing with that employee, to let them know that, maybe it's been 6 months, that person's no longer with the county, but doesn't mean that we forgot about you, doesn't mean that you're not valuable, doesn't mean that your situation was not impactful to your life. I think that needs to be looked into, because there've been quite a few employees that I've spoken to where that's happened, and I don't take it lightly. I don't think it's fair, and I think we need to make sure that when they're putting in a complaint, if somebody isn't here anymore, or retired, or whatever the case may be, that we do reach out and just say, listen, yeah, there may not be anything that we can do right now because that person isn't here anymore, or they can't retaliate, or whatever the situation may be, but we are addressing it, we hear you, we feel you, we're willing to help you with whatever you need as sort of respite from the situation that happened. Yes. So I think that's been overlooked for a very long time.
I think that's a really great point. I think this policy a little bit starts to touch on that too.
I think it's a good step, and I appreciate it, so thank you.
Sure.
To Legislator Montgomery's point, I do sit on an advisory board for the town, which is volunteer, and I have to take all of the classes. The hazardous waste and sexual harassment and the whole slew. So I know it isn't great, but, you know, my job here, all my volunteer positions, I
You
do
could
have to
teach it.
take those. So sorry to the volunteers.
And you have to take, I'm sorry, you have to do that yearly?
Yep, every year.
For the town?
Yep, the town, my job here.
Legislative Brown?
And they also do offer, to your point, to Legislator Montgomery, I have to take a supervisory role, which is longer than the other ones. When I do my certifications every year for a separate job, I have to take them and they're longer. So that is something that's offered to deal with different situations, so.
I just think, you know, asking the volunteers, like you said, it's hard getting people to volunteer as it is. Now, they have to sit through the class. Yeah,
They have a year to do it.
the whole year.
At the very least, understand the policy. And sign off that it's been reviewed.
Maybe it could be
Yeah,
a little different for
true.
a volunteer, you know, not as extensive, you know, touching on all the points and, okay, anyone else?
Guys, thanks for that
Thank you
work.
very much.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you guys don't. Okay, I make a motion to approve the new workplace and gender-based violence policy. Do I have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Thank you. And moving on to number 5 is, this is FYI for accident report. You can look it over. And number 6 is also an FYI, the incident report. Moving on to 7, number 7, there's no other business this evening. Make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.